Yo, what's up y'all? Welcome back to a new Roblox Studio series where I will be showing y'all how to make an obby in Roblox, complete with different stage types, saving checkpoints, a progress bar, game passes, and more. If y'all like this video or find it helpful, please make sure to leave a like. But anyways, here in Studio we can begin by clicking on New Experience, which is going to bring us to a new base plate. And just to make sure that we don't lose any progress, y'all should go to Game Settings and click on Save to Roblox. The only option that really matters here is going to be Team Create, because sometimes if you have internet issues you may lag out. But if you're worried about your computer crashing or your Roblox crashing, I would recommend that you leave this on. But either way, if you disable this option, you can always press Ctrl S to save at any time. And for our last bit of setup, I would recommend that you go to the View tab and make sure that you have the Explorer, Properties, and Output tabs open so that your screen looks something like mine. And now to actually begin on our obby, we can start by going into Workspace in the Explorer tab and clicking on our base plate. And what we're going to be doing is making a small lobby, so we can click on the Home tab and click on the Scale tool in order to scale our base plate down a little bit, just to make sure that it covers the spawn location. And if you want to scale down both sides at the same time, you can hold Control as you scale so that it scales down evenly. And if your new base plate isn't centered, you can come down here to the Properties tab and change your position variable to 0, 0. And now with that, we can start by laying out a few basic obby items such as a kill brick. So to make a kill brick, I'm going to go to the Home tab and click on Part to insert in a new brick. And the first thing I'm going to do is also click on Anchor in the Home tab to make sure that this brick doesn't move around anywhere. And I'm also going to go to the Properties tab and change the name to Kill Brick. And if you want to change the color of this part, you can either go to the color wheel at the Home tab, or you can click on Brick Color in the Properties menu. But I'm just going to make it red to show that it's not the friendliest brick out there. Next, to make the brick actually kill the player, we can go to our brick and right click, press Insert Object, and look for a script. You want to make sure that your script is a regular script, because local scripts aren't allowed to run in the workspace. And I'm going to rename this script the Kill Script in the Properties tab. And once we take all the happiness out of the script, we can start by getting script.parent, or our kill brick. And we can use .touched to use the touched event to see whenever the part is touched. And then we can type :connect. So every time it's touched, we're going to connect a function. And we can remove this closed parentheses and put a new open one. And in these parentheses, we can add check part as our variable. And then we want to go down and drop a line. So with this, we're going to assume that check part is a body part, such as the left or right leg. And these legs are going to be parented to the character model. So what we're going to need to do is check for local humanoid, which is going to be what distinguishes a character from another part, such as the floor. And we're going to set local humanoid equal to check part.parent, find first child, quotation humanoid. So this is going to get the parent of the check part, which could be the character model, and it's going to check if it has a humanoid, so if it is a player or a character. So now we need to actually check if there's a humanoid. So if humanoid doesn't equal nil, then, so if there is a humanoid, we can set humanoid.health either equal to 0, which will kill it right away, or we can do minus equal 10 or 20 or 25. It's going to take from the base of 100. So if you want to make like a tower that doesn't insta-kill the player, you can just subtract a few points. And now before we ever duplicate our kill brick or move it around at all, I would recommend that you go back into your game and press play, just to make sure that the kill brick actually kills or damages the player. So we can walk over it right here. We see that it damages me and kills me actually. That's not very nice. But now we can press the stop button to go back into scripting. But now with our kill brick finished, we can click on it and press Ctrl D or Command D if you're on Mac to duplicate it and drag it over here. And what we're going to make now is a spinner, so I'm going to go ahead and scale this part out to make it look more suitable for a spinner. Just going to shrink it down a little bit, maybe make it like 0.6 by 0.6. And with that, we can duplicate it again and press Control or Command R to rotate it to the side 90 degrees. And to make our actual spinner, I'm going to duplicate this part again and press Control T to make it stand vertically. And then I'm going to scroll down in the Properties tab and change the shape to a cylinder. And with this new cylinder, I'm going to go ahead and scroll up and change the name to cylinder. But now we're going to get into a little bit of the complicated part, because we're going to need to click on our cylinder, hold Control and click on both of our kill parts, then hold Control and press G to group it as a model, or Command and G if you're on a Mac. And in this model, we can go ahead and rename it to spinner. And we're going to need to open this model and click on our little plus sign beside cylinder and insert in a new weld constraint, which is going to be used to weld the cylinder to both of the kill bricks. So we can first set this part 0 as the cylinder and select the part 1 as a kill brick. And then what we're going to need to do is Control D to duplicate this weld constraint and change this part 1 to the other kill brick so that both of the kill bricks are both welded to the cylinder. And then we're going to need to click on the kill brick and Control click the other one and take away their anchor so that they aren't anchored and they're fully reliant on the cylinder to be moved. And now all we're going to need to do is click on the plus sign next to cylinder and add in another new script. I'm going to call this spinner script. And all we need to do for this script is first set while task.wait do. So what this is going to do is basically create a loop that plays right around every frame or so. And all we need to do for this is set script.parent.cFrame, which is its position and orientation, times equals, and we're going to need to set cFrame.angles, which is going to be like an orientation value. And for our x value, we can set math.radians, and we can set 1 or 2 or 3. If you put 1, it's going to be really slow, but if you put 2, it's going to be pretty fast. So I would recommend that you experiment with it a little bit, but I'm just going to put 1. And then for the other 2 values, you can just put comma 0, comma 0. And the reason we're using math.radians is so that it's more suitable for spinning the part around and it doesn't go too far or too little. And if this script spins your spinner the wrong way, such as spinning it vertically instead of to the side, you can change this math.radians to either one of these 2 zeros and experiment around with it. And for our final part for this video, I'm going to create a brick that vanishes whenever you walk on it. So we can start by inserting in another new part into the workspace. And I'm just going to call this vanishing part. And what we're going to do for this part is also insert in a new script. And I'm just going to call it vanish script. So this script is going to be a little bit more complex because we're going to have to start by setting local tween service equal to game:get service tween service. So this is what we're going to use to make the part slowly fade in and fade out. And once we have our tween service, we can copy the same script.parent.touched:connect function. We can connect that same function to our vanishing part and also set our check part as our variable. And we're going to need to do the same thing where we check local humanoid equals checkPart.parent:find first child humanoid. And just like last time, we're going to need to check if humanoid doesn't equal nil. And instead of setting the humanoid's health equal to 0, we can set tween service :create. For our instance, we're going to set script.parent, so it's going to tween our part. For our tween info, which we're only going to use for the time, we can set tweeninfo.new and simply put in 1 or 2 or however many seconds you want it to fade in and out for. And then after our tween info, we can put a new open brace and put first put transparency equal to 1. And then comma can collide equals false. So this is going to first make it invisible and make it to the point where it cannot collide anymore, so the player will fall through it. And then at the end of this, we can put :play. Now after we make our tween, we can set task.wait and put our delay time. I'm just going to put 5 seconds. So we can make it wait 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds until it respawns. But after that, we can just copy this tween right here, Press Control C to copy it and Control V down here to paste it in. Now I'm just going to change the transparency equal to 0 and the can collide equal to true so that the part respawns back in. So I'm actually here in editing right now, but another thing you'll need to do in this script is create a debounce or a cooldown so that you can't step on this part multiple times and have it restart the tween. So what we're first going to need to do is under our tween service, we can set local debounce equal to false. And all we're going to need to do with this debounce is when we check for our humanoid, we can check if humanoid doesn't equal nil and debounce equals false then. So if it's not currently fading out, we can first set debounce equal to true. So it tells the server that whenever this is walked on, it can't vanish again because it's already fading out. And then at the very bottom, right under our last tween, we can set task.wait1 or however long you set your tween to, just to make sure that it lets the tween play through all the way before it can vanish again. And then after that, we can set debounce equal to false. And just like that, we have a new cooldown system so that this won't run again after it's already fading out. And with that, we can go ahead and test everything out real quick. So in the game, we see that our spinner is spinning well. I can walk over the kill part and I'll take damage. I can walk over the vanishing part and it will vanish. I didn't anchor it, but still, make sure you anchor it. But once I walk over the spinner, I'll also take damage and die. So to actually lay out your obby, I would recommend that you go into the model tab and change your move and rotate variables. I usually put my move variable at 0.5 studs. This just makes it where you can only move it a specific amount. It'll snap to the grid and it'll make it a lot easier to make sure that your parts are organized correctly. But anyways, just to finish the video, I'm going to go ahead and make me a basic little obby. But with that, part 1 of our series is finished. Make sure you watch part 2 if you'd like to learn about making checkpoints that save. And like always, thanks for watching, and I really hope to see y'all in the next one.